True melee can be considered one of Terraria's hardest challenges, so I figured why not try true melee in Infernum. For y'all that don't know, in order for something to be a true melee weapon, you need to make direct contact with the boss with a sword before spawning a projectile. An example of true melee would be the Dragon Rage. Doesn't spawn a projectile, only spawns a projectile after hitting a boss. Not true melee would be like the Exoblade. As you can see here, spawns a projectile without making contact with an enemy. With that clarification out of the way, I get into the playthrough. So the very first thing I do is set up my magic storage that is given to me by the Calamity starter bag, and it actually gives me a weapon I can use, being the legendary copper broadsword. I might be talking fast in this video at times or slower at times. I'm trying not to sound like a robot. I notice that whenever going back to my recordings, and I'm trying not to do that and not sound so monotone. I decided to go to the left of my world to try to find a cave, and instead I found some living trees. Always nice, free loot. I do end up finding a cave a little farther over to my left, and I find my first life crystal and enough amethyst to get a hook. I find another life crystal, and for some reason I decided to relog instead of recalling. I don't know why I did that. I had recalls right here, as you can see. I used the 4 life crystals that I got from the cave, and I built my NPCs some very luxurious housing. I find a cave to my right and very quickly find a mushroom biome. These things are great for early game loot. They have life crystals and chests and stuff. I also need the glowing mushrooms for 30-stack shine potions. It just makes it so much easier for y'all to see. I also got random teleports. I love these early game. Oh. Me. I got teleported right to where there was enough to get an emerald hook, and my dumbass recalled on accident. Crumbean's already me again. I found an ivy chest and I get a boomstick. Of course I can't find one of these things in Ranger playthrough, but as soon as I'm playing melee, it just wants to throw them at me. Here I finally enabled Infernum. I completely forgot.
You know, enabling Infernum would be a good idea.
After exploring the underground a little bit, I crafted a platinum pickaxe, a headpiece, and a chest plate. The pickaxe was not a good idea because now I cannot craft pants.
Not a good idea, because now I can't craft platinum pants.
The next thing that I do is go over to my ocean to find the angler. I'm actually going to fish to tier skip. I'm going to get molten armor and a volcano pre-boss. Should I be tier skipping in a challenge like this? Maybe not. Probably not. Someone might say something about it, but I don't care. If they didn't want me doing it, they'd patch it. I did hear that they are going to patch it at some point, so I will stop doing it then, but for now, it's fair game. I do have angler shop enabled. I could just kill a thrasher and have the thrasher kill the angler, but I didn't feel like doing all that. I also have Louis AFK on to give me more fishing lines. This just makes it so my TikTok viewers don't need to watch me fish for 10 hours, because otherwise I would do that. This just makes it a less time-consuming process. I don't really care if some people consider it cheating. I won't use it in my hardcore Infernum run, but I am going to use it now. With my Reaver Shark, I go down to the underworld to get Hellstone to be able to craft molten armor in the volcano, which is the true melee weapon that I'm going to use. I craft molten armor, and then for some reason I sell it.
Did I sell my molten armor? I could have sworn I had molten armor. Did I not craft it?
And you know I have to craft an awesome vanity set from Calamity Entropy. I barely do the bosses from Entropy, and I don't use the weapons from them because they're kind of broken, but I love the vanity sets. And I craft a second set of molten armor because I sold my first one. And the goblin army finally decides to show up. I defeat them fairly quickly with my post-Brain of Cthulhu gear pre-boss. I find the goblin tinkerer tied up underground. I can now combine some of my gear together. I go into the underground jungle to find an anklet of the wind so I can craft into lightning spark boots.
And the last thing I want is feral claws. I go down to the jungle to try to find them, and naturally, because it's the one thing I need, I can't find any. But fortunately, with a little bit of searching later, I ended up finding them.
Feral claws. Yes.
And now it's finally time to fight our first boss. I'm going to do the Eye of Cthulhu first because I can, and I just figured why not? I have a summon for it. Should be super easy. I'm really over-prepared for this. I can take all of its contact shots and take pretty well no damage, so I can get some swings in every now and then. This probably should have been where I realized that this is going to be an incredibly slow and boring playthrough because I can't get consistent damage. I have to wait for the bosses to get close enough for me, and sometimes that can take a minute. The last one I did was Legendary Infernum, so the bosses should feel a lot squishier and feel like they do a lot less damage, so I can take a lot of shots. Do get it really low here, and I'm really low. I try to deal as much damage as possible, but I can't really deal damage without getting hit, so I get extremely low here at the end, but I do end up killing it before it kills me. Thank God.
Almost. Okay, maybe this is going to be a little harder than I anticipated.
With the Eye of Cthulhu defeated, the NPCs from AlchemistNPC will move in, which means I can buy my buffs. King Slime doesn't give me anything, but I'm going to do him just to get him out of the way on my boss checklist. He is not hard at all with my defense and my damage.
This is my first chest that I've seen. And it has a magic conch.
Now it's pretty well boss rush time. The next boss that I fight is the Desert Scourge. Again, I'm super over prepared, so I can pretty well just take everything from him.
All of this damage. Yes. Yes. Wait, am I gonna die? No.
Now it's time to fight Crabulon. There's not much to say about this fight. I kind of just stay really close to him, an inch in one direction. I don't get hit, and I hit him with my backswing, so it makes this super easy. The entire fight, I'm just taking hits from him with no care at all. I get a little low, but I use a heal potion, and then I just stand inside of him to deal the rest of the damage and kill him.
Alright, Brandon Cthulhu time.
I'm still over-prepared for this fight with my Molten Armor and Volcano. Again, I just run away from him and let my backswing do its damage and dodge his projectiles. There's not much to say about it.
He also stands still at certain times, making it super easy for me to get damage in, but there are some phases where he dashes, so I can't get as much damage, unfortunately, so it is still kind of slow. He does his later phase where I pretty well can't hit him, so I'm just forced to dodge this easy attack. He does another phase where he goes around you in a circle and creates clones, and you pretty well can't hit him again, so yet again I have no damage against him. But finally, he stands still long enough for me to kill him, so I am now on tier for where I'm supposed to be. I use the tissue samples from the Brain of Cthulhu to craft the Tainted Blade, which is another true melee weapon.
And now it's time to fight the Perforators, the second evil boss for the Crimson biome. I always choose Crimson in my runs. I never play Corruption.
I have done the Perforators as my first boss before, and it was like an 8-minute long fight, so I'm not really expecting something different from this. It's usually super easy as long as I don't throw.
It takes me a minute and a half to get him to his first phase where he spawns his first worm. He has 3 of these phases, so I figure it's going to be a fairly long fight again.
I should have just done the Perforator as my first boss. This is easy.
It's just the same thing over and over again, going up and down and hitting the worm. And I finally get him to 50%, which means he spawns his next worm. This time the Perforator stays a decent bit away from the player, and the worm isn't too aggressive. I try to get swings in now and then, and I can take hits, so it's not too bad. I ended up getting my adrenaline up. I was going to try to save it, but I ended up getting hit, so I lost it. Should have just used it, but it's whatever. And over 30 seconds later, I finally kill this stupid thing and get him to his next phase. That phase took forever. And now he's finally down to 50%. His next phase also takes like a minute. It's absolutely horrible. For the most part, it's fairly simple dodging. I do get hit a couple times, but it's not a big deal. I have a lot of defense. And I finally get him down to his last worm phase. This is thankfully the final worm he spawns. In this phase, the Perforator Hive and the worm are significantly more aggressive. I do get kind of low, but I use a heal. I thought I was going to throw the fight, but I really didn't want to do this all over again. I'm getting really bored of this fight after almost 5 minutes. So I start playing stupidly. I get fairly low again because I'm just taking contact shots to try to kill this worm. Really not a good idea because this could have risked the entire fight being lost and having to do it all over again. But with the worm defeated, he's finally down to his final phase. It's kind of hard to get hits on him again. I have to do it whenever he's dashing. During this attack, he stays a fixed position above the player, so it really sucks that I can't kill him, but I'm like half health and I don't take much damage. He's only 3% HP, I simply just need to wait for him to stand still during his next attack, and I easily kill him. Perforators has been defeated, and we are completely deathless all the way up until Perforators.
Rogue playthrough started today. Oh, I'm sorry you have to play Rogue. Oh, it's fun. Mods, ban this guy for life. Rogue or Fargo's death.
How do you get better at dodging?
Basically, what I do to get better at dodging is I dream about Terraria and I practice dodging the bosses in my dream and I learn patterns while dreaming. That's why I'm the GOAT.
It takes a lot of practice to be the Crumb Goat. Now, the next boss I'm going to fight is Skeletron. The thing about this boss is he is on a time limit. If it reaches daytime, he will turn into a Dungeon Guardian and one-shot me. So, I have to kill him before that, which is going to be hard. I did not reforge everything to Menacing and Lucky, which I should have done. I can pretty well only hit him on my backswings here because he stays a fixed position above the player. I can maybe get a swing or two off, but it is really hard to hit him. Skeletron in Infernum is usually a piece of cake. I did not see him being any issue going to this fight. He does like no damage. Normally, you're able to just melt him. I do end up taking some hits at the beginning of here. I'm kind of reading my chat at the same time of playing this boss fight. Again, I know I'm not going to die to this guy unless he enters his Dungeon Guardian phase. I'm on melee with warding, so I know I can take hits. In typical Crumbing fashion, I do end up throwing and dying to Skeletron, which is super embarrassing, but I do know that I need a bigger arena and I need more damage because otherwise I'm going to run out of time. I spawn Skeletron again, and this time I attempt to use the Blighted Cleaver. It has a much shorter range than the Volcano, and it does not do as much damage. So I swap back to my Volcano. I'm still able to hit him on my backswing here. He's down to 85% health, and it's 2 a.m. I know I'm not going to beat this because I spawned it late in the night, but I just wanted to test out the Blighted Cleaver and see if it was better and see if my arena was big enough, which it is not, and the Blighted Cleaver is no good. And it turns to 4:30. He enters his Dungeon Guardian phase and one-shots me. This time I spawn him as soon as night starts, so I'm going to get the full night from 7:30 to 4:30 to beat him, and hopefully I make this one be the attempt. This boss fight lasts the entire night. This clip is in 100 times speed. And yet again, it turns to 4:30 and he one-shots me with 15% health left. With absolutely zero more preparation, I decided to go in the next attempt using the Tainted Blade because it does inflict a debuff, it inflicts poison, and it swings a little faster, so I figured I might as well try it. Whenever he does his skull spinning, I hit him on a backswing again, I end up getting him down to 85% health and his first time spinning at me. Or a second. I'm not going to make you guys watch this entire fight. This is currently in 5x speed because it was like a 9.5-minute long fight. It pretty well consists of the same attacks over and over again. Figured I'd throw this in here now while there's just a little break and I got nothing to say. I haven't actually continued playing this playthrough yet. It'll probably depend on how good this part does if I decide to keep playing it because it's going to be a long and annoying playthrough. But if people want me to keep playing it, I will try it and see how it goes. The only issue is that I do usually talk to my chat while fighting these bosses, and if my chat is dead, then I have no motivation to play. So if you want to talk or anything, come into my TikTok stream. My TikTok is Crumby. I might go live on YouTube here soon whenever I get more subs so more people watch and I remember to read my chat. This last part's going to 100x speed because it's unbearable and it's long. And now we are back to normal gameplay. He is currently at 11% HP and I still have an hour left in the night, so this is 100% doable. I'm just making sure to dodge. I'm pretty well full HP. He does this phase where he stands still and shoots skulls down, and I realize that he actually doesn't move, so I'm able to hit him with my swings here. He's 10% HP. I'm just swinging my sword, hoping that he stands still long enough to kill him, and he is finally defeated, which means Skeletron, a boss on a time limit, is finally out of the way. There was nothing that I wanted from the dungeon beside the Muramasa to be able to craft the Knight's Edge, but you can't craft the Knight's Edge until you have defeated the Slime God and get the Purified Gel from it, so I do that next. This fight normally isn't hard. I figured it would be a little more difficult on true melee. I do die during my first attempt because I was throwing, but I also wanted to see how much damage I was dealing them and how hard they'd be. I decided to expand my arena in my desert and spawn them again. This fight also takes forever. They're kind of low and I'm still full HP. This is the point in the boss fight where I start zoning out. I'm not even looking at my screen half the time. I'm reading my chat for the most part. I'm just not paying attention and I am not in this mentally anymore. It's taking forever. Fortunately for you guys, this boss has only been like 20 seconds. For me, it has so far been almost 7 minutes. And they still have a good chunk of health left. I do end up getting hit quite a lot here. I get down to 200% HP. I keep getting hit. I use a heal and up to 300 health again. The purple slime is almost dead, but I want to start hitting the red slime because you don't want to kill one before the other, otherwise the last one left will enrage. They finally stand still again and I'm able to swing and hit the red one. I do take some contact shots. I'm fairly low, but both of the slimes are very low, so they're almost in their final phase. The purple one is now dead. I'm just trying to kill the red one. He finally dies, and now they use this little spinny orb thingy that flies around at you shooting projectiles. I'm going into this almost full HP, so it should be easy. I'm glad I went into it full HP. I end up taking a full contact shot there. I tried dashing into it. I take more damage here. I am so incredibly zoned out during this phase that I just start getting hit by absolutely everything. I dodge this super easy attack, fortunately. I get hit again and again and again just by absolutely everything. Still above 200 HP here, and I have a heal. I don't know why I'm not using it yet. I finally end up using it. It was probably because I wasn't paying attention. I'm just getting hit over and over by every single attack. During his easiest attack, I end up getting hit 4 times, being knocked all the way down to 80 HP. I am now super low, and I do not want to throw this fight. I'm now less than 20 HP. I'm almost dead and it's still at 5%. I actually lock in and start dodging everything. Fortunately, I almost died. I was so low. One shot from anything would have killed me. I get hit twice more again. I'm now at 10 HP, now 20 HP, regenning a little bit, and it's still at 2%. I'm just swinging my sword and it would have hit me there, but I killed it at the last second. Not even close. That was terrible. I never want to do that again. The quality's probably bad, but I don't know if you can see that was an almost 9-minute fight as long as Skeletron. But now with that out of the way, I can craft the Knight's Edge. Now with my Knight's Edge and Statagel armor, it's time to fight the Wall of Flesh. This should be super easy. The Knight's Edge is one of the best weapons for the Wall of Flesh. Before you can actually deal significant damage to the wall itself, you need to destroy all 4 of the eyes and the defense will lower. I do have a life force potion, so I do have 440 HP. You can actually find them throughout the map in pre-hard mode.
It doesn't really change the fight that much having a life force potion. I don't get that low to the point where I would have needed it.
I normally don't do this, but I ended up running into his big laser 3 times and mistiming my jumps.
I guess it just kind of goes to show you how worn out and not locked in I am in this playthrough.
But it shouldn't matter. I'm still 300 HP, 200 HP now. I've used my heal, which is unfortunate. Now I just need to dodge the big laser. The wall has attached itself back to the eye and start shooting lasers at me. With that said, the fight's pretty well over. This playthrough, I don't know when I'll complete it. I guess it'll depend on how many views this gets or like how good this does and if people actually want to see it. I feel corny saying this, but if you made it this far, thanks. Feel free to let me know if you want me to keep doing this playthrough. It's not too fun so far. Maybe it'll be better in hard mode. Maybe it'll be worse. But yeah, I guess it'll all depend on what I feel like. Last thing I'm gonna do, plug my TikTok again. Follow my TikTok. I do kind of post products on there because it's kind of my job at the moment. But I'm trying to post more Terraria content and I stream almost daily.
Yeah, thank y'all.